I am Vinnie Tortorich. Folks, your good intentions have been stolen, but don't worry. I'm here to help you get them back. You may be soft and succulent when you start this process, but hang in there. Before long, you will be lean and mean, guaranteed. Yeah. Sometimes I wonder if I've lost my mind because we've been doing this show now for about 12 years, maybe even longer. Folks, it's the Monday show. And when I say we, I mean me and the beautiful woman on the other mic, Miss Anna Vocino.
Yay. By the way, we're well over 13. We're well into our 14th year.
Are we? Has it been that long?
Yes. It was April 2012.
And it feels like we've only just begun.
No.
To
it doesn't.
live. You know that song,
We've
right?
only just begun.
Woman can play a hell of a drum set. She was good on the drum set. Yeah, people don't know that about Karen Carpenter, but little known and even less cared for fact. Just like Ozzy Osbourne, who we were just playing at the beginning of the show, she's also dead. She died of anorexia.
That's right.
Very, very.
We do not want you all to die from.
Yeah.
We're all going to die from something. Don't die from that thing.
You know what, Anna, that reminds me, boy, it's funny how things come around. You start talking.
Yeah.
I was doing sometimes on the Friday show, we started doing the call-in shows again because we get so many requests. Like everybody, when I say requests, people write to me. They write to Chris. They, whenever I do the consults, the consultations, people can sign up for a consult. One of the big things I hear is do more of the call-in shows.
Oh, great. Now, I would love it if we did a call-in show because then people can ask cooking questions.
You know what, Anna? We can do that.
Let's do one.
I can make that happen. And I'll tell you after the show how we have to go about making that happen.
Okay, great.
Okay. So
writing it down.
All right. Write down that you got to ask me that question, how we're going to make that happen. So the call-in show, we used to do like 5 shows. We do 3 shows now, but back when we did 5 shows, every Saturday I would have listeners can just call and talk to me, right? That was the deal. And people used to tell me back then, that's the show I get the most out of because they relate to me. It's people who, women who are in menopause and guys who are 500 pounds or whatever. They're relating to the rest of the audience.
Absolutely.
But Anna and I learned at some point that doing more shows wasn't better because there's so many podcasts out there now and everyone's got their true crime podcast. They got this podcast, that podcast. They got to listen to, left wing, right wing, whatever you got. People's got all these podcasts they got to listen to. So they started missing shows. And we actually got a bigger audience when we went to lesser shows, right? We gained more audience again because people could handle 3 where they couldn't handle 5.
Right.
And 2 of the shows, like the Sunday school went down the drain, and then the listener call-in show. So I moved that instead of just doing luminaries on Fridays, we do call-in. And I haven't done one in a while because, well, we've had too many luminaries. So I've gotten back to it. And by the way, folks, if you want to be a call-in, just let Chris Schaefer know, and he will put you on the list. We have about 100 people on the list right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we're going to keep doing them.
So should we let Chris know that if there's cooking callers in particular?
No,
we'll
that's what you and I need to talk about at the end. Okay. I might have you put it out to your group so we could get specific.
Perfect.
We can do it that way, and we'll get the specific people asking those questions.
I think that like with your core new people who find you, whether through Mike Rowe or Adam Carolla or whatever, their cooking questions are very much like, okay, you told me to cut out sugars and grains. Now what do I eat? They're or like, I opened Eat Happy and I didn't know how to make anything. You know what I mean? It's a very, because people are going into the kitchen for the very first time.
Well, look, we could put it out to my group too, but I'm saying that,
I want to like cross that. But my group, I feel like I've got people who could just run it. They could just be there. Leslie Hollenbach can just sit here and do this. Right. She's your new co-host. You know what I mean? But Allison Sobchak cooks up a story. You know, they're all making such great things. But I think because I think it's really fun to be able to talk to people, meet everybody where they are.
Yeah, so we'll figure it out, and we can do some. We get call-ins on Monday. I like that idea.
Great.
So I'm doing a call-in last night, and I see a guy now. I recognize the guy because I've seen his pictures on X and this and that and the whole thing. His name is Scott. So I'm not telling you anything Scott wouldn't tell you because, Anna, this story is actually coming up on a Friday show. Maybe it's already come up because we're recording a lot of shows out of order.
We are.
And we have to because we have travel coming up and everything. So people may have already heard the show, but I think it's worth telling you about Scott. Scott was over 500 pounds. I want to say 550. And now he's 250.
Oh,
he's lost
my God.
300 plus pounds.
Incredible.
His wife has also lost, like, I want to say 120. So that puts us at 420. And then his son, one of his sons has lost 90. So that's 510 pounds on 3 people. I'm not making this up. Scott also started exercising along with his wife. They started walking.
Great.
And walking became an obsession with them. They went from barely being able to walk at all. When you're 500 pounds, I mean, you're trying to put on a 500 pound, if you weigh 200, put on a 300 pound vest. That's what it felt like for Scott. Okay. The guy is walking. They're walking more and more miles. He's walking like, he can walk like a marathon, right? He was able to walk a marathon. 26.
Incredible.
Sometimes he'd go out and walk 3 or 4 hours a day. He's a little older. He's got time on his hands. Well, one day he's coming home from a long walk, and there's a government-looking car in front of his house.
Uh-oh.
You know, let's say it's probably like a Ford. You know how Ford makes those cars that look like, cop.
It used to be, remember it used to be if you saw a Crown Victoria, you're like, that's definitely a cop. Or
Yeah,
somebody
you
who
knew you
bought an
were
old
in trouble,
cop car
like
and
a
painted
gray
it.
or a black
Yeah.
Crown Vic, and you knew you were like screwed pretty good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So he sees this car, and he, as he gets to his house, there's 2 people approach him, and they said, "Hey, we're here to do a wellness check." A wellness check. He goes
On Scott?
on Scott and his wife.
Okay.
And he goes, "What do you mean a wellness check?" He goes, "Someone's called us and said that we should do
Adult
a wellness."
Protective Services?
I guess. I didn't know there was
Which
such
is a thing. No, that's a thing for like if elderly people are being abused. Yes.
Right. And Scott invites him in the house. "Come on in. Let's talk." And they were like, and as it turns out, folks, you're going to hear the story from Scott. It's more unbelievable than you would think. Not the son losing weight, but one of his other sons, who admitted to him much later, was the one that called the authorities and said that my father is doing some kind of wacky diet where he's not eating carbohydrates. And he has now badgered
his own son called
one of his sons, not the one that lost the 90 pounds, but another son. And apparently that son lives about 800 miles away from him. Doesn't even see him, doesn't know anything, just knows that his mom and his dad has been losing a ton of weight and they're eating healthy. But this guy thought that this was crazy and unreasonable and all this stuff. Called the authority. The authorities had to do a 3-month, check them out for 3 months. They had to submit to all kinds of stuff for the authorities.
Don't we have bigger fish to fry than this?
Okay. Not only was he 300 pounds at the time, or he might have been coming up on 300 pounds. I think he's lost like 340 now total, right?
Okay.
Not only was his wife 120 some odd pounds down or something, their A1Cs were in check. They had gone off of several of their medications. I don't want to lie and say how many because I can't remember. You can hear the story if you go listen to his story on the Friday show. they their triglycerides were now for the first time in forever in a normal range. And did I mention they came off of tons of drugs?
I'm sure.
This is who the authorities were checking on. This is who was the problem. Are we insane?
This
is my question.
Yeah,
See,
no, that's
they should have
insane.
I would have said to these people, listen, pull your phone out. Here was a picture of me 300 pounds ago. Here's a picture of my wife 100 pounds ago. Do you think we have a problem? Now, I asked him, I said, what kind of shape is your son in? He goes, oh, he should be doing this too. The other son who lives near them did it, and like I said, is down 90 pounds now. Can you imagine that this is what we're dealing with?
So if the other son had heard that his dad and mom took Ozempic or whatever, would they have called?
No, because we've normalized
that's
taking a drug.
Right, exactly.
The fact that
I know it's hypothetical. I know I'm commenting on hypothetical.
It's not so hypothetical. People are telling me, why should I go do any of this when I could just take a drug? Because taking a drug always, and I do mean always, including aspirin, there is a side effect. Now, maybe it's because I'm a Libra and, I'm always trying to balance the scales. That's what Libras do. That's what I'm told by my hippie friends.
Yeah,
right?
you're
If you do something over here, you need to do something over here to get it even, right? You got to always balance that scale. And you know what, Anna? Behind me, instead of having a coffee grinder, I should put one of those scales, like the scales of justice.
You should. You're the scales of fitness justice.
Yeah, just to remind people that anytime you take a drug, and we could just show it on the show, we could go, okay, we take the Ozempic needle and put it over here, the Wegovy needle or the Mounjaro needle. Yeah. Okay, what do we need to do over here to balance it? Because now you're out of balance. I'm pretty fucking brilliant. I can't believe I'm coming up with okay, that's what you need to always balance. Okay. There is no, listen to me. I stole this from my good friend, Dr. Drew. There is no free lunch in nature. There is none.
I thought Dr. Drew stole it from you.
No, I stole it from him. Well, we both had a different way of saying it, but that was his way of saying it. I'm going to be talking, we're recording this at 6 o'clock on Friday night. At 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, ET, I'm going to be talking to my buddy Robert. He set up another consult. Robert is that guy. I think I told you his story once before, but it's worth bearing. So Robert, for months and months and months, maybe a year and a half, kept saying, "Oh my!" But he's a high pollutant attorney over in Boston. Does really well, but he's got his job. It's a lot of stress. This sort of thing. He's got wife, kids, the whole thing. All the stressors that you get. Mm-hmm. It's like, Vinnie, I'm eating low carb. I look a lot better. I feel a lot better. But in the gym and this and that, and I got all the stress. All my buddies are telling me I need to go on TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, or HRT, hormone replacement therapy. I think they usually use HRT for women and TRT for guys, right?
They've been calling it MRT lately, menopause replacement there. I don't know.
Okay, so yeah, they're just finding it more lipstick to throw on that pig. So the bottom line is,
I don't know the context of what you mean, but.
Well, you put lipstick, by taking drugs, you're putting lipstick on a pig, right?
I don't think you should come for female hormone replacement therapy without.
No, I'm talking about the TRT.
Okay.
I get, thank you for correcting me, Anna. So these guys take this stuff and you're going to feel better, right? You start taking more testosterone, naturally you're going to feel better. And a lot of people are going to come after me for this and go, dude, I feel better. So what? What do you care? It's fine. But know a couple of things. Once you start, you can't stop. Oh, you can stop. But guess what? Now your hormones are going to be in the toilet worse than they were before. Why? Because your body stopped making them. Your gonads stopped making testosterone. Now, that can equalize after a while, but you stop and you're going to be lower than you were before. You're going to be lower than whale shit. And that's pretty low. Goes to the bottom of the ocean. See what I did there, Anna? So And if you stay on it, now you're on a drug for the rest of your life. So you have a choice, right? You have a choice. My deal is never go on and just take what you got and do the best with what you got. And there's a lot of things you can do naturally to raise your testosterone to some degree. We're aging. Our telomeres are getting shorter. Everything about our DNA, we're dying. Every day, we're closer to death. Unless you get hit by a bus, you know, you're going to just keep going in that direction. Okay? But here's the thing. There are things we can do. Getting proper sleep. People go, oh, I can't fall asleep at night. Why? Oh, I know why you can't fall asleep. Because you're looking at a phone. That strobing of a phone is a problem. You're looking at an iPad. You're looking at a tablet. You're looking at a laptop, what have you. These things are proven to mess up sleep. I've had sleep specialists on this show explaining that. Getting proper rest will help with your hormones. It will equalize your hormones. It'll bring it up. Getting exercise, especially weightlifting, anaerobic exercise, will help your body. It will regulate and raise your hormones. Eating the right foods, right? Cutting out any kind of processed foods, eating clean. Well, you know, eating red meat, eating eggs, right? These are things that will help raise your hormone. You can go look online. There's a bunch of things out there that will help naturally boost your hormones or give your body the best shot to get your testosterone up if you're a guy, what have you. And as I mentioned about Robert on the show, a year and a half, I kept saying, Robert, it's up to you. I can't tell you what to do. You're going to feel better. I'm told by every guy, they feel better and the whole deal. But you're going down a road that we don't have a lot. Oh, they're saying it does this, that, and the other thing. I got you, brother. I got you. He ended up having a problem, right? He ended up in an ambulance, shortness of breath, because they put him on too much, right? It wasn't regular. And I think he had the pellet put in. See, once they put the pellet in, then it's in there.
I think you should not go straight for the pellet, right?
I don't know what he did. I think he was doing one thing and went to another thing. He did a few things and then ended up being too high, like 11, 1200 testosterone. That's getting into what bodybuilders get, right? These things are problems, folks. Anytime you take any medication, there's a downside. There's another side to it. So consider that when you take a semaglutide, a GLP-1. Doctors, I was doing a Tom Bernard show yesterday. They have me do that show from time to time. I love doing Tom's show. And we were talking about some of these, you know, drugs and all the stuff that people are on. These are problems. You know, they wanted to put his son, I think his name is Andy. His son is Andy, who's on the show with Tom. They wanted Andy to take a statin because they thought his triglycerides were too high.
I remember Andy. I remember Andy on the show.
Andy's never been on my show. I was on Tom Bernard's show, and Andy is his son that runs.
Yeah.
Have you been on Tom Bernard?
Yeah, you referred me over there. I did his show.
Okay, so you remember Andy. Andy, his total cholesterol was like 160, 165 total. They wanted to put him on a statin because his triglycerides were over 200. That makes no sense. That's like putting a cast on your arm and it's not broken. Why is there a cast on it? It's not broken. Or you might break it. You already have the cast. Right? It makes no sense. A lot of times you have to question, I am not anti-doctor. I am not anti-medication. I believe that doctors have saved my life twice. At least more than that, when you think about it. You know, I've had surgeries. I've done this. I've done that. But when a doctor starts throwing drugs at a problem, it's your right. It's your right. Go get a second opinion. Get a third opinion. And do not ask that doctor to recommend a doctor, because he's going to recommend his friend who's going to say, do what the last doctor said, or he's going to give you the same. Go find an independent doctor. I know it's money, it's time, it's bullshit. I'm telling you, do this, folks. Do not do this. Do not do this. Okay.
So
You know,
do
what
it.
you know what you want to do?
What?
You want to get a lot of polyphenols in your system.
Yeah.
Very
That's
helpful
a
for
big
you.
fancy word that means stuff that's good for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, there's several ways to get polyphenols in your system. And look, we don't sell these things at purevitaminclub.com, but you know who sells polyphenols?
Straight from the
Capelli,
source.
right from the
Yeah.
source. Boom. There are no seed oils. There's no, they don't go making olive oil. Well, look, you know they're serious because when they're out of olive oil, they stop selling it. You could go weeks and months without Villa Capelli because when they run out, they run out. You know who never runs out? Bertolli. You go into any grocery store in the country, Bertolli's always got. Where are they getting all these olives from? They're
Well,
not.
it ain't all olives.
And ain't olives. They're mixing seed oils in there up to 40%. And it's not just Bertolli, it's a bunch of them. See,
Olavita, Bertolli,
yeah, you name it.
Carabelli.
Everything that sounds Italian, it's all crap. I'm telling you, here's the deal. They're allowed by law to cut these things. You could cut olive oil up to 40% and still call it 100% pure olive oil. 40%. But how do they make it taste, Vinny? Oh, they have to add a flavor back in, and they have to add a perfume.
By the way, and once you taste Villa Capelli, you'll realize it doesn't taste that good.
Yeah, well, you mean the Bertolli's doesn't taste that good.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Like they're like, how does it make it taste? No, it actually tastes like shit.
Yeah.
Once you try real olive oil, you'll be like, oh, wait a minute. I didn't even know that that's what it's supposed to taste like.
Listen, if you want to take your Bertolli, put it like if you got a storm lamp or something at your house, this kind of thing that, when storms come, we're going through hurricane season right now. Put it in there. You can light your lamps when your lights go out.
Lampante.
Lampante. That's what they call it in Italy. Lamp oil. You don't want lamp oil. You want the good stuff. You want Villa Capelli. You want to save money? Put in promo code Vinnie, Vinnie. You'll save 10% every single time. 10% Villa Capelli olive oil. And I got one more thing to complain about.
Great. I love it. And then I'm going to complain about something. So
okay, you mind if I
on the same wavelength, friend?
Actually, this is not a complaint. This is something good.
Okay.
I went upstairs. On Thursday I work on my train. So I went upstairs when I was done working on my train.
Yeah, I want a train update.
Oh, I just sent you a video. So watch a little video.
Okay.
And you can see my little train update. So we'll do that after. But I went upstairs to tell Serena I'm taking a break at 7:00 and I can eat between 7 and 7:15 before I start my next podcast.
Right.
And I saw a little, she put it in the colander. The strawberries, they're almost the size of small apples. These strawberries, I went, ooh, I haven't had a strawberry in a long time.
Yeah.
I put the strawberry in my mouth. And, I talk about this in my book, Fitness Confidential. When you don't eat sugar of any sort, things that, like strawberries are somewhat tart. I mean, on a glycemic scale, they can't be more than 35 or 40, right? They're very low. I always tell people, if you're going to eat fruit, have berries because all of the berries are very low on the glycemic scale. So if you want a treat, you want berries. I put this thing in my mouth. It was like I just injected my mouth with honey. That's how sweet it tastes to me.
You were not used to it.
That's what happens when you eat right.
Right.
You remap your taste buds to where everything tastes
I
sweet.
like that word, remapping the taste buds. That's great.
Yeah, I use that in my book. I came up with that term for Fitness Confidential. So, folks, you want to read a great book, go read Fitness Confidential. If you want to read a better book, go read Eat Happy Kitchen, the original. And if you want to read one better than that, go get Nina Taisho's Big Fat Surprise. I just gave you guys 3 books to get. One from me, one from Anna,
the Vinnie Book Club.
Yeah, join the Vinnie Book Club. They're all there. Debbie will put them right on top at on my Amazon thing, my Amazon link. So go check that out. You want a train update real quick?
Yeah, train update, please. The video looks awesome.
So, Anna, you can tell from looking at that, that's not an amateur job.
No, it looks profesh.
Well, that's because it is. Okay. So this started off as me, like I literally made it a New Year's resolution to have a train by the end of the year.
Right.
And I wanted to build the whole thing myself, so the easy part is anyone can go by the track and anyone can go by the train.
Right.
But you need to build the scenery, right?
Right.
So
it seems like you need to build, it has to flow, and yours like flows really well.
Well, okay, that's because I have a professional train guy that comes in. Yeah, they exist.
Awesome.
The guy's name is Brett Jones over at Rail Tales. You guys want to look up Rail Tales and Brett Jones online. He's in Charlottesville. And I went to this guy. He's my age. We have a lot in common, just nerdy guys. And this train would not look the way it's looking without Brett. Like the rocks, the snow, the tree, all of it would not look like that without Brett. The layout, right? He was the one. I said, look, Brett, I want to have as much track on a 4-foot by 6-foot thing as I can. I have an HO scale. And he's the one that's come in and he laid it out and said, okay, you can. And by the way, I built the table. I just built the table and put the foam on there and the whole thing. And he came in and I thought he was on drugs at first. He goes, you're going to have a mountain over here, and over here you're going to have this, and down here you're going to have a waterfall and a lake. And over here we could put, a pasture, and you could put some cattle on it. And over here you can have a Christmas tree. We were talking it all out, and it's like, he's looking at a blank slate, and in his mind, he's coming up with this stuff, right? And it's just been a pleasure working with this guy, basically being his assistant, right? Doing
That's
the
awesome.
So when you build the mountain, I'm there putting the plaster on there and the whole thing. But when you make the rocks look like rocks, I'm learning from him because he's there with the brush, brushing that on and everything. So I didn't think, I thought I would be more hands-on than this because I was with the kayak with Joey Schott when I did the kayak, because that's wood and that's woodworking and there's a lot of sanding and more sanding and more sanding. But I have to admit that project would have been double, we did it in 320 hours. The kayak would have been 600 hours without Joey, because I would have had to keep pulling off what I screwed up to do again, right? With Joey, there's no mess up. Right? There's a straightforward plan. So, folks, if you have any time on your hands, or, everyone thinks New Year's resolutions have to be these crazy things, right? I'm never going to eat this again. I'm never going to do that again. And by the way, I've done those in the past.
Yeah.
I've done whole years of no life into living, no sugar. Like the strawberry I just ate on a no life into living year, that did not exist. Zero sugar of any sort. I've done crazy things.
You wouldn't have a bite of fruit on a no life into living year?
No life into living years. No wine ever. No alcohol.
No wine and no dessert, but you would have not even a berry?
No, only vegetables.
All right.
Right. Oh, I'm sorry. Vegetables and tomatoes, which is a fruit, and avocado. So those will have
like the savory fruits, like cucumber.
Tomato.
No,
I don't like cucumbers, so I don't have them anyway. So let's see. I would have.
Good. I don't want you to infer that cucumbers have too much sugar, because that would.
I'm not a big cucumber fan. If I will eat a cucumber raw, you just eat a cucumber, but in a salad, it's just.
I like them with salt and olive oil on them.
Okay, so all right, I would leave avocado in. That's a fruit. I would leave olives in. And I would leave tomatoes in. Everything else, fruit-wise, I'm on no life into living. I've done years where I had to do at least 1 hour of aerobics. I did that like 4 years in a row.
Yeah.
This year, I'm not doing that. This year was about putting on more muscle, which means I had to crank back on my, the amount of aerobics, right? Because I'm hitting the gym more and harder to literally put on some muscle at 62, going into 63. But I wanted to do another project where I'm doing something kind of artsy, right? Because we all go through life going one day. And I realized when I turned like 58, 59, oh, wait, I'm running out of days.
Right.
And I haven't done, I've always wanted to build a canoe, right, out of wood. And here I am, no wooden canoe. So I changed it a little bit. since I got into kayaking, I decided to build a kayak. So that's what I did. But I still built a wooden boat. As a matter of fact, I built something that was way more complex than a canoe. Right? So take time, folks. We don't know how much time we have. Figure out what you can do. It might not be a train set for you. It might not be a kayak. I got to be honest, both of those endeavors are expensive, but we are empty nesters, and, you know, I don't spend money on stupid things like sports cars and what have you. So you have a few.
You used to, but now you don't.
Now, yeah, I used to have sports cars and fast motorcycles and everything. And I realized that those things never really made me happy. Right. And I may get another sports car one day, because every now and then you go, oh, yeah, maybe I need this or need that. Or you don't need it, but want.
I don't know. You seem pretty happy when you rolled into the North Hollywood in the Ducati.
Oh, I love my motorcycles. I only stopped riding motorcycles because with everyone texting on the road, I figured I was on borrowed time. And I used to love my GSXR. I didn't love my Harley, but I liked my Harley. Loved all my Triumphs, and I had 2 or 3 Ducatis, and I love bikes and motorcycles. I like 2 wheels.
You're a motorcycle guy. Can I ask you a question?
Sure. When
a motorcycle zooms past me and is so loud it rattles my bones, my question is, I get that that's fun, but my question is, do you wear earplugs? Because I thought to myself yesterday, somebody zoomed past me on such a loud motorcycle, and it literally rattled my central nervous system and hurt my ears. Do you hear it when you're on, and do you wear, because that must contribute, that can't be good for hearing. I know that sounds stupid and like.
No, it's not stupid. It's loud to them too. It's louder to you because the pipe is coming out the back.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. Those dynamics make sense.
Okay.
But I was like.
But it's still loud. All right. So I've had track bikes allowed, right? Because I used to go to track and do amateur racing. And we all wore earplugs at the tracks, right? Because, and I had the kind that were molded into your ear, not just a little cheap cottony looking things. You wanted those in because those bikes, when you're winding them up to 11,000 RPMs, it's screaming on your ears, right? I don't like loud bikes. Loud bikes do not save lives. I've heard that before. Oh, yeah, I put this muffler on my bike, sir. No, it's illegal. The noise, it's noise.
Oh, is it a special kind of muffler that makes that noise? Is that
you can either take the baffle out of the tailpipe you have, or, you could buy a pipe that they put on the package for track use only, right? That's how they get away with selling it. It's not meant for the road.
Okay.
Because it reaches a decibel level that's way higher than, what should be on the road.
Right.
Right. So yeah, it's illegal. I never liked it. LA is just full of a bunch of clowns on Harleys with the baffles out, and I'm just not a fan of it.
Yeah.
Right. I had a Harley. I just left the baffles in. They were fine. And by the way, it doesn't make your bike any faster. And people, dude, you're way off. It increases the horsepower by X%. Yeah, but you can't feel it, right? It's not like it raises the torque curve or anything. That you feel the oomph in the torque. Yeah, it might raise the horsepower at a certain RPM by X amount. You'll never feel it. Sorry, you just won't. Take it from a guy who's owned a gazillion motorcycles.
I can't wait for everyone to get mad at you on X.
Oh, they will. Come at me, bro. Come at me. So, yeah. And by the way, I took the term remapping from my motorcycles, right? Because my GSXR, before I just made it just a track bike, I used to ride it on the road too. And when you go to the track, you start adding different suspension and all that, because that's what really matters on a track. You got to have the right suspension. But you could go in, you would hook a computer up to the electronics of the bike, and you would remap the way the bike ran. so that you could get more power out of it at a different power range on the track, right? At a different, so there were ways to, and it was called remapping. And you would use it like that. And right before you left the track, you would get a guy to come back with the computer, and the computer was sitting right on the seat of your bike. You would plug it into the bike, and you would map it back down for road use. And that's where I got the term remapping from. You know, it's like, oh, they're doing what we're doing whenever you eat correctly. You're remapping, right? So that's where I stole the term from that and used it in my book. So there you have it.
I wanted to talk about a new level of, for lack of a better term, grocery store fuckery that I didn't know.
Let me write that down for my next book. Grocery
store fuckery.
Fuck.
Which, you know, we've talked about all kinds of crazy stuff about how hard it is to get on the shelves and the slotting fees and the free fills, which means you have to give a case for free of other things. And then once you get on the shelves, you better sell really quickly or else they're going to yank you off the shelf, because every space, every inch in a grocery store costs money, and they want to maximize every inch of space that they're selling. Yeah. And there's things like, you know, we're in this chain in the East Coast that we pay around 10 grand of free fills and 10 grand of slotting fees, and we're not planogrammed. And they prey on these younger brands that don't know that you need to be planogrammed. And what a planogram
what does that mean? What does that mean?
A planogram, or a POG. A planogram is in the store. If you're in a chain, every single item is accounted for down to the inch. So when you submit your brand for consideration, you even have to give the measurements of the jars. It's 7 inches tall. It's 3.5 inches in diameter. You have to give the weight. They need to know, because they need to know exactly how much they can cram on the shelf to be able to sell. And if they care about styling the shelves, they want to be able to cram everything on the shelf, but also make it look pretty so that you'll buy more stuff, right?
Right.
So every single thing has to be accounted for. Maybe in their spice racks, they have certain heights, and you're not going to fit. So you don't get on the shelf because you don't fit the height of the thing, whatever. There's all sorts of considerations. And so when something's planogrammed, if it runs out, even if you try to move the cans, which, by the way, I always appreciate when people are like, I moved the jars. I'm like,
wait, Anna, I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say they want a diameter?
Yeah, well, they need to know the width. This is a jar. It's a
why
circle.
would they use circumference?
I'm sorry, I meant circumference.
Oh, okay, because I was about to say,
wait, isn't diameter across?
Circumference is the distance around the outside of the circle.
I know, but diameter is the length from
the
one
middle
end of the circle to the
edge.
other end of the circle. Oh, it is?
Yeah, I think. I don't think I have them backwards. Let me look up
I
diameter.
think we're looking for this measurement that's up and down of the circle, like the bisection of the circle.
All right, diameter.
Not the diameter. I think you're talking about the radius.
All right. So diameter is from end to end. You're right. Yes. The radius is from the middle to the end.
Out to the edge, and then circumference is that.
You would think circumference is what they want, because you're taking up, you said every inch of space. I was thinking.
They want to know, they want to know width and depth, which is 3.5 for both, because it's a circle.
That's why I thought circumference. Never mind. But
all good.
But okay, yeah.
Yes. And by the way, this is me also learning, like, oh my God, the whole grocery industry is run on spreadsheets. You put all this information in a million times in your applications, and then you get onboarded, and then the distributors, they need to know how much your cases weigh, how much your pallets are, so that they can take up room. They have it down to the inch of how much room you're taking up in the warehouse. And then you better be moving a certain amount of your each SKU per week, or else we're going to discontinue, which is, that happens. And then you have to go sing for your supper and be like, no, we're about to onboard this new chain. Please don't discontinue us, distributor. And it's a long line of whatever. And then there's pricing, of course. What I sell it to, let's use an example of $5. If I sold a product to the distributor for $5, they would mark it up 25%, 15 to 25%. And then the store marks it up 35 to 45%. Right. So what I sell it into for $5, I'm hoping that the math works to get the price at $10. But usually, even if it's at $5, it's around $11. And then what has to happen is I have to come up with an amount, like, let's say it's 50 cents. I lose 50 cents a unit I'm selling this for $5, let's say. And
Right.
every time it's scanned and someone buys it, I'm paying 50 cents per scan to make sure that the price on the shelf is $9.99 and not $11.99. Okay, so all this math has to happen to make the price, and the stores are not going to bend on their margins, and the distributors are not going to bend on their margins.
They don't have
So
to.
if I want it to be priced well, I have to eat that. Fine. So we have to bake all this in, right? So, by the way, I'm not the only brand going through this. Every brand goes through this.
Right.
But what happens is you have Frito-Lay, you have Campbell's, you have Nestle, you name it. You name the large brand, they're owned by an even larger conglomerate. Well, they do have the economies of scale, but they're also figuring out, how can we make this thing with an even cheaper ingredient and it's still
Right.
palatable, it's still edible, it's still safe,
Right.
right? How can we do shrinkflation? How can we, instead of it's 1 ounce, now it's 0.08 or 0.8 ounces?
They
How
did
do
it with a pint of ice cream. People still say a pint, but it's 14 ounces.
It's 14 ounces. It's not
Yeah.
16 ounces.
Yeah.
For example, we now have a consultant and she's fantastic because she's getting all of our financial ducks in a row. And she said, where can you shave pennies? One place we can shave pennies is on our new label. We decided to go, instead of the really heavyweight linen label, we're now doing a midweight linen label. So this saves, 8 cents a label.
That
Great.
much.
I know. And I'm okay with doing that. We're actually going to go to the standard semi-gloss label. We're going to lose these labels soon because that's a place where I'm like, I don't care. If people care that much, I don't care. What I care about is what's inside the jar.
Absolutely.
And so then she says, well, what can we do? What can you do to shave pennies? What can you look at a different kind of cheese? Can you look at a different kind of olive? Can you look at a different kind of basil? And that's her job. And I'm like, and I think to myself, this is so funny. That it's like, and I was like, this is why we have such shitty food on the shelves of the grocery
Absolutely.
stores, because they're looking for a penny, a quarter of a penny, a half a penny for each unit. Adds up when you're selling hundreds of thousands of millions of units a year, right? Adds up to millions of dollars. And I'm going, no, we're not touching the inside. We're not touching the inside of the jar.
Right.
So it's me calling my guys every 2 to 3 weeks going, hey, so what else could we do to shave the price? That's just me calling people and hustling, right?
Yeah.
Fine. So everybody knows this. I'm definitely not the only brand who's up against this, right? And the system is large and in charge. And it's very expensive to move food across this country. And it's very expensive to pay workers to load the food in, to do everything that's involved. So nobody wants to cut down on their margins, right? And at the same time, we have an issue that prices are going up. And I don't want our prices to go up. They're already high.
Right.
So we're eating as much as we can without the prices going up. So other brands choose to go raise a whole bunch of money with the hopes that if I raise millions of dollars, I'll have a cushion. We can do what we need to throw money at this whole thing until we can just exit and sell and get out. And then the big companies can mess with our formulas and we don't care. So here was the new level of effery. So we got on the shelf at the same time at the I'm going to say Kroger branded stores, Kroger owned stores. This is our biggest account yet. The 6 West Coast Kroger banners, which are King Soopers, Fry's, Ralph's, QFC, Fred Meyer's, and Smith's. And thank you to everyone who's gone out and support. We got bad advice from our old broker who did not give us the right promo and pricing plan, but we finally have one in place. It takes like 3 months to get the promo plan going. So last week we went on sale. So what I've been doing is things like you heard me say, like, I'll Venmo you. I've been taking any money I've earned from Villa Capelli has gone right back into your pockets. I have put that all back into rebates. Now we're spending the money directly with Kroger. So you'll see it's on sale for like $7.99, $8.99, depending on which store you go into and what their margins and pricing are. Great. Happy to do it. So another thing that we do is a lot of people shop with Instacart. Vinny, do you use Instacart to do your grocery shopping?
No,
I do not either.
We don't.
I don't either, but it's very popular in LA and New York and Chicago and Dallas and Houston. It's very popular in the big cities.
Yeah.
And so we do Instacart ads, which is kind of a cool idea because when somebody's shopping on Instacart and they're like, I want the Rayos, beep, boop, 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 our ad can come up and they're like, wait, pink crema sauce. That sounds good.
Yeah.
What is that? And they might try it out. And we pay. It's like a pay-per-click, like how you would see an Amazon ad or whatever, a
Sure.
Facebook ad, right? We pay for that. And I looked at this, one of our competitors who went on the shelf around the same time that we did. And I looked at their Instacart thing, and it had over it was like 1,100 reviews under Instacart. So I asked Instacart, I was like, hey, how do we get the ability to write reviews? Because you know how important reviews are. We ask people to review this
Yeah,
podcast,
absolutely.
review our books, reviews.
Everything online matters. Reviews matter.
Matters. Mm-hmm. So Instacart said, well, you have to work through a third-party platform. We don't facilitate that. So I'm like, okay, great. Another thing to pay for. So I look under this competitor's reviews, and I was like, this is weird. And this competitor also got 4 SKUs on the shelf at the same time that we got 4 SKUs in the reset with these stores. They got more stores.
All of these reviews like overnight.
Not only that, I looked, they were all from like March 18th through March 25th of this year.
That's fuckery right there.
And then they all said, this review is a sponsored content review or something like that. So it did disclose that it was basically the people got it for free in exchange for writing a review.
Right.
And I think to myself, oh, and then I looked, it's powered by Social Nature, which is a company that you can hire to get people to go buy your product and write reviews. Great. I love that there's people are innovative and they're thinking of ways to do it. We don't have the money for that. And so I think to myself, oh, they got 1,100 reviews just on one SKU. And they also get the scan data from the store. So the store thinks they're doing gangbusters.
All right. So let me ask you this, Anna.
We are not.
How many reviews?
We didn't do that program.
How many reviews do you have right now?
Well, no, we don't have reviews through that. We don't have reviews on Instacart at all.
At all.
We have reviews on our website.
Would you like reviews on Instacart?
Yeah, but we have to pay a third-party platform to get them. So I'm finding out how to do it.
Okay.
I can follow up with reviews.
So my thing is, if I ask right now for our audience to go give you reviews, they can't get there right now?
Not on Instacart.
All right.
They would have to.
So folks, don't go to Instacart to give her a review right now. You go there and buy her stuff. Your stuff is there, right?
Well, this is what I'm going to say. If you live in those areas, whether you shop on Instacart or you shop in store, we're now on sale. But this is what I'm talking about where I go, oh, 3-4 years ago, John Shiroli, all the people who advise me, and they still say, you're going to need cash because there are all these little things that the brands who stay on shelf do.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. We're fine. We're bootstrapped. We have crowdfunding.
John Shiroli knows what he's talking about. He's in that business.
And I was like, no. People are ready for a food movement, and they are going to buy things. Good luck, hippie. And then you see that the competitor had, 4,000 jars. How many cases is that? 4,000 divided by 6. That's a good.
That's like a zillion jars.
Well, it's like a really good start for them to like, first of all, Kroger's going to be like, they sold like crazy. Like they were brand new and no one's heard of this brand and they sold like crazy. And so it's just interesting. And I'm like, okay, noted. Yet another way to get the stuff moving off the shelf. And I'm not mad at them. I get it.
Right,
if I had $5 million, I would take advantage of it too.
Yeah,
but I don't.
You can't hate the player. It's the game, right?
Exactly.
They play the game. You just have to figure out a way around that, right?
The way that we're doing it is we are paying for a deep dive scan to be on sale at our retailers. So when you go buy it and you see it for $7.99, please grab a jar. Grab.
And where are these jars existing? Do we know right now?
Oh yeah, Ralph's, Fry's, King Soopers, Fred Meyer's, QFC, Smith's, Gelson's Pavilions, Jewel, Central Market. We're about to have the pumpkin marinara and HEB. We're, food towns on the East Coast, Roche Brothers on the East Coast, but we're paying a lot of money right now purposefully. Also too, because the tags, a lot of people, they love a sale when they see the sale tags, but that's one way that we're able to do that. But over and above that, we don't have the resources. So we're in an interesting position, and I am observing this. Obviously, I'm working my ass off to get it sold, but I'm like,
Sure.
no wonder we just see the same usual suspects in every category in the grocery store, because it's the people who can afford to do that.
Money
fuckery.
talks. Bottom line, money talks. And
money talks. So,
yeah,
and
look,
and the power that we have is our audience, is you guys listening. You
yeah,
guys are the power. And if it doesn't work, it
this is
doesn't work.
something
But
I used to tell my old partner. He was like, we're going to put it on the shelves and all these things. Andy, I talked to John Chiaroli, who understands this, and he's telling me we need $1 bazillion to get there. Oh, you don't know what he's talking about. It's like, do you know what you're talking about? Apparently he didn't, because I had to fire him because he was screwing up a lot of things, right? The guy I loved dearly. It was like a brother to me. It's like going to a funeral, having to tell your
it's
friend.
terrible.
And by the way, I had to do it because the company was in such bad shape, and I get it. He wasn't a good businessman. That's okay, right? It's okay. Not everybody's got to be good at everything.
Right.
But I had to go put all of my money in there just to, and by the way, every attorney said, shut it down, Chapter 11, screw the people you owe. And I went, no. I don't think you understand. I can't do that. These people have supported me. They've supported my books. They've supported my movies. They support my podcast. They've supported my vitamins for 10 years. And some attorney comes in and goes, we'll go Chapter 11. Leave the people, let them all hold the bag. And I said, I always talk on this podcast about,
that's very typical in business.
Walking through the fire. I told Serena, I said, honey, we might go broke, but at least I can go broke and hold my head up and tell everybody I did everything I could, because
that's right.
I don't have a business mind where I can tell people to go fuck themselves after they supported me. I just can't do it. And we couldn't do it. And we did what we had to do, right? We did what everybody tells you not to do in business. We took private money and paid off.
That's what I've done
to go get all.
I haven't taken a dime out of this business to pay myself even a light bill or nothing. In fact, I've sunk a lot of money into me traveling around. I don't charge the company for that. I don't charge the company for my time. And that's fine. That's a choice that I've made because I really want to grow this business so badly. Like, I will do what it takes. And that's great. But and by the way, what you mentioned is very typical in business. And I was talking to a friend of mine. I was in LA when the motorcycle was zipping past me. I was staying with my friend who back in the early teens sold his company to Twitter, and Peter Thiel was his lead investor in his company. And then he sold it to Twitter. And I was saying, well, these little Gen Zs, they got $5 million. Can you imagine giving $5 million to a 25-year-old? And he was like, well, that's what happened to me. So he's like, I was like, oh, well, you're really responsible. I'm sure they are too. But it was an interesting thing to go, well, hold on. This is really, he goes, but not only that, those guys will go on to do 10 more companies, and whether or not they succeed or fail, they'll still get the investment each time, And I was like, oh yeah, well, that makes sense. I mean,
people
can't be mad.
Right,
and one day we'll go to VCs because that's where we're headed. We will have to go to get private equity money or VC money because we'll hit a ceiling in our growth. But until then, I am doing everything in my utmost power to engage our audience and our friends and our family to, you're going to buy one anyway, at least buy our brand.
All right. So Anna, let's do this. Yeah. I'm going to say what I have to say about wrapping it. And then I want you to clearly and concisely putting a dot at the end of every one of them. I'm going to say, the end of the show. And before I play music, I want you to name every place people can find your product again. You said it a minute ago, but I want you to say it again slowly and concisely. Whenever I point at you, I want you to say it. Okay.
I want people to go to eathappykitchen.com and put in your address. We have a store locator that's updated every week with new stores. Put in your address. You'll see the store that's closest to you.
But I want you to say it so that we could put it in the show notes too.
Great.
That's what I'm trying to do here. So
I can send that link to Leona.
Give Anna your email address.
You don't even have to give me your email address. You just put in your own address, and it will tell you where the retailer is.
Put in your address. It'll tell you where to retail.
Yeah, it's a map. Yeah.
And that's at Eat Happy Kitchen.
EatHappyKitchen.com and grocery locations.
And when I point at you, I want you to say them all slowly. Okay. So, folks, you know what to do. We all go shopping on Amazon. Before you go to Amazon, please go to VinnieTortorich.com. Click through the banner. Puts coal on the fire. Gets my train down the track. So go and do that. Rate and review this podcast. Put life into living and do it with enthusiasm.